afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now live at 4.
It's Friday. It's like my new rig.
It's very nice, very fashionable.
My surgery was a week ago today, and so now I'm in this sort of Game of Thrones looking thing.
And you have a plate in there now.
Yeah, but actually I can move a little bit more than the cast, so that's good. I just wish it wasn't black. It sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. But it's Friday.
Yes, I'm glad you're on the mend.
Yeah.
That's the important thing, and we have a lot of show to get to, so here's what's making news on this Friday. A Baraboo apartment building is finally free of bed bugs. Amy Reed explains how much effort and money it took.
The president is threatening to close the U.S. border with Mexico the same day the Attorney General says we will be able to see the Mueller report. It'll be ready to see for the public by next month.
So let's take a look outside. Wait a minute, we have another story that I don't know what we're doing. All right, so anyway, here's a look outside. Not a bad Friday, end of the month practically. A quiet and cool weekend. And Dana Fulton is in on a Friday. That's extra special. She's in the backyard.
Yes.
How are things looking?
Things are okay right now. Unfortunately, we're looking at some cloud coverage building in over us. We did, of course, have some nice sunshine this morning. Right now, our Doppler track is quiet, just a little cloudy outside. We do have the slight chance to see some showers this evening and then some scattered showers expected overnight. Most of it, though, will stay south of Madison. Right now it's 52 degrees. Our breeze is calm, so it feels like we're right at 52. It's not too bad outside, just a little cool. 55 in Janesville, about 53 in Platteville right now, also 55 in Mineral Point. Now in the last 24 hours, of course, it is quite a bit cooler outside compared to what we were experiencing for a Thursday evening, but without much of a breeze to factor in, it's really not too bad for us. It should be a pretty okay evening if you do have any Friday plans. Again, we may deal with a few little isolated raindrops, nothing to cancel your plans for tonight. Temperatures will slowly fall through the 50s, and then we'll be in the 40s for much of this evening. Then we're dropping into the 30s overnight. It'll be cool to start off your Saturday, but we'll get sun back in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday. We'll take a closer look as far as temperature breakdown for the weekend coming up in just a few minutes. Right now on the roads, things look mostly okay right now. Here's the Beltline right at Park Street. Both east and westbound seem to be moving along just fine. No major delays and no accidents to report, which is always a good thing. The Beltline looks good. 39 and 90 all look okay, especially if you're traveling down to Janesville and everywhere around Janesville. Right now, Rock County looking just fine. For your drive times, if you're heading from Verona to the Beltline, 6 minutes, 7 minutes from Oregon to the Beltline, and then from Springfield to University Avenue, about a 5-minute drive. Northbound from Janesville to the Beltline, about 26 minutes. 18 minutes from Sauk City to Middleton, and Sun Prairie to downtown. That's a little longer than usual, and about 20 minutes right now. Again, your drive this evening should be pretty smooth, and your weekend right now is looking sunny, just a little cooler outside.
All right, not bad for a Friday. Dana, thanks.
First at 4, apartment management for a city-run complex in Baraboo say they are bed bug free after an infestation this month.
Amy Reed is here now to explain what it took from the city to get this under control, Amy.
Right, this is a city-run apartment in Baraboo for seniors called Donahue Terrace. This is right on the Baraboo River in town. Over the last month, they have been dealing with bed bugs and fumigation. The Community Development Authority in Baraboo, which runs the building, said bed bugs were found in 11 units. So they shelled out $16,000 to fumigate those in the common areas. They also had to pay $4,000 in other costs and short-term control, which added up to $20,000 in total for the whole problem. This came out of the Community Development Authority budget. But if that ends up making funds too tight by the end of the year, the director for the authority told me they have the money they need in a reserve fund. Long term, they don't anticipate this to have a negative impact on their finances, and now that fumigation is complete in the complex, they're hoping to stay bed-bug free from here on out.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Thanks, Amy.
State Republicans and Governor Evers continue to spar over legal rulings concerning the lame duck sessions. GOP legislators said that they will appeal a second ruling blocking laws weakening the powers of Evers and the Attorney General. And Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald is telling 15 Walker appointees whom Evers fired to go back to work. Fitzgerald says he believes they still hold their positions and they can continue to serve.
Latino members of the Wisconsin State Legislature held a celebration honoring civil rights and labor activist Cesar Chavez today, ahead of the official federal holiday on Sunday. Today's celebration is the first Chavez Day event held in the Capitol in more than a decade and featured speakers including Governor Evers, former migrant worker Jesus Salas, and 3 Latino state representatives.
He fought to secure better working conditions and pay for some of our country's most vulnerable residents, our immigrant laborers. My mother revered him. Her side of the family came to this country from Chihuahua, Mexico, looking for a better life.
Cesar Chavez Day was declared a federal holiday in 2014 and falls on Sunday this year, which is Chavez's birthday.
Attorney General William Barr says the public should be able to read the entire Mueller report by mid-April. The Attorney General sent a letter to the chairman of the Senate and House Judiciary Committees saying the 400-page report should be released by then. Barr says that he wants the public to be able to read Mueller's findings. And President Trump is ramping up his rhetoric on illegal immigration just a day after Homeland Security officials asked Congress for sweeping new powers to deport unaccompanied minors across the U.S.-Mexico border. Natalie Brand has the latest from Washington.
President Trump is again threatening to close the U.S. border with Mexico, tweeting in part, "If Mexico doesn't immediately stop all illegal immigration coming into the United States through our southern border, I will be closing the border or large sections of the border next week."
We'll keep it closed for a long time. I'm not playing games. Mexico has to stop it.
In Mexico, authorities are bracing for another large caravan carrying migrants from El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala, hoping to reach the U.S. border.
We have run out of space. We can't hold people anymore, and Mexico can stop it so easily.
In a letter to Congress sent late Thursday, Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen warned of a system-wide meltdown and asked for the authority to quickly deport unaccompanied Central American minors to their families and home countries if they have no legal basis to be in the country. Sarah Pierce is an analyst at the Migration Policy Institute.
The problem is the big flows we're seeing right now are families. They aren't unaccompanied children, so that change won't actually address today's flows.
Secretary Nielsen also wants to allow Central Americans to apply for asylum in the U.S. while still in their home countries, and she urged Congress to act immediately.
Congress has to fix our broken immigration laws. We're the laughingstock all over the world.
In a statement, House Homeland Security Committee Chair Democrat Benny Thompson accused Nielsen of trying to confuse and mislead the public and blamed the Trump administration for making the difficult situation at the border worse.
On Capitol Hill, Natalie Brand for News 3 Now.
And more than 75,000 migrants were detained last month. That is the most in 12 years.
2 weeks after the shooting massacre at 2 mosques in New Zealand, more than 20,000 people attended a national memorial service to honor the victims. They came to mourn and to remember those senselessly killed by a white supremacist targeting Muslims. The names of the 50 victims were read, including Hosna Ahmed, who faced down the gunfire to run back into the mosque to save her wheelchair-bound husband. But she didn't make it out alive.
I do not hate him, and I cannot hate him. I cannot hate anyone.
An assault on the freedom of any one of us who practices their faith or religion is not welcome here. Violence and extremism in all its forms is not welcome here.
The Australian-born gunman is in jail waiting for his murder trial.
More than a dozen parents charged in a massive college admissions scandal had their initial court appearances in Boston today. 15 parents accused of gaming the system walked into a federal court in Boston to be arraigned on conspiracy charges. Prosecutors say 33 suspects paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to rig test scores and bribe coaches to get their children into elite colleges. Investigators say Rick Singer was the alleged mastermind behind the scheme. Singer, along with former Stanford University sailing coach John Vandermoor and former Yale soccer coach Rudy Meredith, have all pleaded guilty to pocketing hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes from parents.
I want to make sure that hard work is rewarded. You shouldn't just get rewarded because of what family you're born into. You should get rewarded for how hard you study.
Actresses Felicity Huffman and Lori Loughlin have not spoken out about the allegations. Both are scheduled to appear in court next week.
Lawmakers in Britain rejected Prime Minister Theresa May's Brexit deal for a third time today. The vote leaves Britain's withdrawal from the European Union in turmoil on the very day it was supposed to leave the bloc. The decision to reject a stripped-down version of Prime Minister May's divorce deal has left it totally unclear how, when, or even if Britain will leave the EU. Within minutes of the vote, pro-Brexit demonstrators protested at London's Parliament Square.
Progress on U.S.-China trade talks sent stocks higher on Wall Street. The Dow Industrials added 211 points, ending the first quarter of the year at 25,928. The Nasdaq Composite Index gained 60, and the S&P 500 was up almost 19, recording its strongest quarter in over 10 years.
A Minnesota-based company is trying to improve safety in youth football.
It's claiming their innovation has an injury rate 7 times lower than tackle or flag football. Our Madeline O'Neill is back from the Wisconsin Football Association's Spring Clinic in Middleton, where tackle bar is being demonstrated today. Maddie?
Mark and Susan, coaches from across the state are in Middleton today looking at the latest developments when it comes to youth football. One is called Tackle Bar. It was created by Jeremy Ling, a lifelong football player and longtime coach out of Minnesota, who realized when his kids became old enough to start playing, he wanted to take proactive steps to keep the game he loves safe. With Tackle Bar, instead of full tackles, players are taught to wrap up their opponent and pull a foam bar off a harness on their lower back, which eliminates the final impact. With declining participation rates in youth football, Ling hopes this will help keep students in the game.
There's a lot you can teach. You can teach these young players well beyond just the fundamentals of the game. There's a lot you can teach about life through the game of football. And so, you know, that's where we're really trying to hold those doors for participation open, and we want kids to keep signing up and participating.
Tackle Bar is intended as a transition between flag football and tackle and as a training tool for older students. Tackle Bar is sponsored by the Minnesota Vikings and was one of 5 finalists chosen in the NFL's first and future Super Bowl competition, highlighting safety innovations in the field this year. And several Wisconsin football programs have started using Tackle Bar, including Chippewa Falls and Toma. So it's catching on.
Yeah, what a great idea. Yeah. All right, Maddie, thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. Still to come tonight at 4, they're calling it a rare evening with Madison magazine. Rare as in rare steakhouse.
Our sister publication says it's a chance to learn how to prepare the perfect steak. That's coming up when Live at 4 continues. Well, Madison Magazine and Rare Steakhouse are teaming up to host a very special evening.
They're hosting a dry aging masterclass and a signature dinner. Chef Jesse Klosky of Rare Steakhouse is here, along with Rachel Tachi from Madison Magazine. Good to see you guys.
And a lot of meat.
Yeah, wow, look at what you brought. Well, before we talk about these beautiful cuts of beef, Rachel, tell us a little bit about this event.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's the first time we're doing something like this. It's a sort of a signature evening at Rare Steakhouse. So Jesse is here. He is the chef at the Madison Rare Steakhouse, and we are also having the chef from DC come in. So Rare has a DC restaurant, and their chef Mark Hennessy is coming in, and together you are both dry aging experts.
So people are going to get a lesson and a meal.
They are, yep. They're going to learn all about why dry aging is superior, tips and techniques on how to dry age, and then they get to try all amazing different cuts of beef that have been dry aged at Rare. Plus, they get to go tour the Rare dry aging freezer, which is the largest in Wisconsin. And then they get to enjoy this amazing signature meal with all different sorts of cuts of meat, prawns, different entrees, different sides from local purveyors. And then they get to cap the evening off with coffee, dessert, and a final Q&A with all of the chefs.
What a wonderful evening.
Yeah.
Jesse, what is dry aging? What does that involve?
So dry aging refers to the process where we age our meat in a 35 to about 40 degree cooler, and it's kept around 80% humidity. What that does is it allows a slow evaporation through the meat. So here we have one that's been in the cooler for about a week. This started off at about 36 pounds, and here we have one that's been aging for about 40 days. And this comes down to about 25 pounds before it's cut and portioned into steaks over there.
So why is that better?
So one of the main things that really happens, aside from the intensifying of the flavors through that evaporation and loss in weight, is that we inoculate the cooler with a certain type of mold and bacteria, much like a cheesemaker would for their aging coolers. And what that does is that allows an enzymatic process to go through there, and you get a lot of those signature flavors you get from dry aged beef. Mushroom, blue cheese, even buttered popcorn.
So it loses 10 pounds?
Yes.
Wow.
10 pounds for about our standard 40 day. Sometimes we do extended aging up to a year. Those pieces will lose up to 50 to 60% of their weight before they're served.
Wow, you dry aged for a year?
Yep.
And what is this piece here?
So this is an example of a much more traditional, commonly available wet-aged piece of meat. So this is what you get at most restaurants or supermarkets. This is aged for about 28 days, all of these are. And for those first 28 days, you really get a lot of the tenderness. After about 28 days, you don't get as much development in the tenderness. So,
what are the cuts you brought tonight?
So the cuts that we have here, we have our signature 22-ounce bone-in ribeye. We have our dry-aged Delmonico.
This one
and
again?
then we also have our rib cap. And this is one of our most unique cuts. So the ribeye is really consisted of two main muscles. One, the main one is more commonly referred to as the eye of the ribeye. And then we also have out here the spinalis, or what we refer to as the rib cap. Now, the spinalis has a lot of the best marbling as well as best flavor of any steak on the animal. And that's why we like to feature it in these rib cap cuts.
So as a chef and consumer, a bone-in ribeye is the best you can do?
That's always my go-to, yes. And if you want something really special, we go with the rib cap.
Boy, there's a lot to learn, isn't there?
Really
I mean, that must be a kind of a fun part of what you're going to do at the
I love it there.
Yeah.
You know, we do beef. We're also starting to age duck as well as lamb in our coolers as well. So.
And Rich said you have the largest cooler in the state, or what's
Yes,
Madison?
largest cooler in the state, and we are really one of the few in the Midwest to really do these extended aging as well as our own. Most of our aging in-house.
To an untrained palate, am I going to tell the difference between that and this?
Absolutely. Some people sometimes think that the flavor is a little bit too strong if they're used to eating wet-aged meat, but a lot of people, much like a fine wine, prefer the age process.
Rachel, are there limited tickets available?
There are limited tickets available, so you're definitely going to want to go online, pick up your tickets. The event is actually happening Tuesday, April 16th at 6:30 p.m. at Rare Steakhouse.
All right, and you get the information online. Tickets at Madison Magazine Experience.com, and it's a little pricey.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get to enjoy not only this, you're going to learn so much. You get this cool tour, and then you get this really robust meal. There's not only going to be multiple cuts of meat that have been dry aged, but also you get prawns, this gnocchi, a lot of butter, truffle, black truffle oil and butter is going to be infused in it. It's going to be a wonderful, rich, delicious meal, and you get to learn so much. And then you get to take those things that you learned and apply it at home, too.
So you could dry it at home?
If you have the right cooler setup,
okay.
Yeah. We don't necessarily recommend doing it in a standard refrigerator, but we do certainly have people that we've worked with that are interested in setting up their own special type of coolers in their home. So
get your tickets now. The event in a couple of weeks.
That's right.
All right.
Great to see you both. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Take a look at this. Talk about being as drunk as a skunk, or maybe skunky beer. In any event, somehow this skunk got his head stuck onto a can of Bud Light. Fortunately for him, the animal was taken to the Wildlife Center where he was sedated. They removed the can. They're keeping him for a couple of days to make sure he's all right, perhaps tending a hangover.
A little hungover, I would imagine.
I'm glad they
Here's your friendly
that
reminder
all.
to pick up your litter.
How did he get his
Of
head?
course.
They must have cut the can out or something.
I bet the top was cut off somehow. So.
All right, we have a marked garage snow bank update.
Dirt pile update.
Dirt pile.
This is from. That's all. I took that this noon. I took that. This is from this noon.
Okay.
And this was over like 12 feet high.
Yeah.
but it's still there.
So you think, Dana, by the end of the weekend it'll all be gone?
I think so. At this point, I hope so. You go out there, just have Lola and Louie start digging at it.
Dig at
they can work at it.
So yeah, I think we might be done. I might put my shovel away.
You might. At this point, you know, we're almost into April. If we remember last year, of course, we might not want to put our snow shovels.
Yeah, there was a bigger storm.
Right. But right now, things are actually looking okay as we look through your 10-day forecast. We're not calling for any snowfall, but maybe a few snowflakes tonight. We'll take a look at your forecast right after the break. Now, it wasn't nearly as warm outside today, but we were still above average in the low 50s for afternoon highs, where we're sitting close to right now at Madison. We started the day off still a few degrees above average in the low 30s early on this morning. No records broken today in Sunset. Still getting later and later. It's not until 7:20, so you still got a little bit of time to get outside for the evening. Overall, our Doppler track right now is quiet. We have cloud coverage currently. We have some showers just off to the southwest. We're looking at the slight chance for some showers, a few scattered showers for us tonight. We have this area of low pressure at the southern edge of Kansas that's going to continue to move east. And as it does lift east, it's going to bring a lot of rainfall for us throughout the Midwest. And southern Wisconsin is right on the edge of that rain possibility, where we might see just a little bit around Beloit or Janesville or even up to Madison, but most of it is really going to stay south into Illinois. So that's the cause for our little rain chance tonight. We also have this cold front up to the northwest as it swings southeast. It's going to bring some cooler air in our direction, and our temperatures for Saturday and Sunday will be a little cooler outside. We're not planning on being back in the 50s for either day, unfortunately, but we will get some sunshine once that high pressure swings through, or once that cold front swings through. High pressure is going to settle in for us. So we have a cloudy sky right now. Again, overnight, most of the rain is going to stay south of the state line, but we're not ruling out the chance for some light showers or drizzle through this evening and early in the night for us. As the rain rain's wrapping up for early tomorrow morning. There's the possibility to have a little bit of mixed in with those light showers. We're not expecting any snow accumulation, but we may see a few snowflakes, again, mainly towards the southern edge of the state. By tomorrow afternoon, we clear out and become mostly sunny for Saturday. And then for Sunday, we're also looking at a mostly sunny sky throughout the day. It looks like this moisture is going to hold off for us and really hang out until Monday, once what the other models are bringing it in for us. So overnight lows will drop just a little bit. But our concern really for this evening, not so much our temperatures, but this rain threat for us. Janesville, Beloit, our greatest opportunity to see some showers. Most of it stays south of Madison. By Saturday morning, temperatures will be close to freezing. We'll be in the mid to low 30s for our overnight lows with the breeze coming from the northeast. By Saturday afternoon, our highs will be in the low 40s. So we'll be a little below average rather than just a little above. Sunday morning will be quite chilly outside. Temperatures will fall to the low 20s. So plan on a brisk start to the day. And then in the afternoon, we'll be in the low 40s again for our afternoon highs. So here's what we're picking up with our rain potential notice. The trend is really towards Illinois as far as picking up the most amount of moisture. You may see around 1/10 of an inch for Janesville and Monroe, but we're not even expecting that. A few hundredths of an inch possible in Madison. So that's really just some light showers or drizzle chances for us. And that gradient's going to stay consistent overnight to the southeast corner of the state, not expecting, or southwest corner of the state, not expecting much, but the southeast corner of the state, we might pick up just a little more rainfall as we head into Saturday morning. Overnight lows, again, mid to low 30s for us under a mostly cloudy sky. We are expecting the rain to potentially mix with a few snowflakes early on in the morning, but not going to see any accumulation along with that. Now our breeze will be coming from the north-northeast, so that cooler air is going to help fuel those temperatures tomorrow. They won't be climbing so high. We'll stay in the low 40s for afternoon highs, but it may be a little windy outside for tomorrow afternoon. Those wind speeds anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour later on in the day. Again, 43 the high for us in Madison, and we should be in the upper 40s for afternoon highs by now. Mostly cloudy early, and then once the clouds clear out, once that low pressure moves a little further east, we're going to become nice and sunny. It'll be a little cooler outside, but at least it's going to be sunny out. I like the sunshine. We're expecting sunshine for both Saturday and Sunday. As we get into Monday, there is the chance for some showers to build in at night. Just a little bit of a chance for us heading into Tuesday. Temperatures will become a little more mild for us, back above average as we head into next week. Of course, getting ready to start off April on a quiet note. We'll be close to 50 on Monday and the mid-50s for Tuesday. And then we'll have another system that may bring some rain with some isolated thunderstorms for Wednesday and into Thursday morning. But again, a nice pattern of a dry spell before the rain returns again for us in the forecast.
No fooling.
No.
April Fool.
No fooling. We'll have to think of something fun. Is that, can we do something fun?
That's Monday.
We can do whatever we want.
Anything.
We'll think about it all weekend.
Okay, cool. Great. Ideas are brewing.
All right. Dana, thank you.
Dana.
And Chris will be in over the weekend to keep up to date on the weather, and then stay tuned for CBS Sunday Morning. Jane Pauley joining us from New York. Good afternoon, Jane.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
We are doing well. Hope you are as well.
Well, we got a busy weekend coming up on Sunday morning. To start with, as a kid, I didn't know how brilliant it was, but The Twilight Zone was more than just the strangest show on TV with the best theme song. But back in the 50s, Rod Serling was serving up social commentary through science fiction. And now the show is coming back with filmmaker Jordan Peele as host and executive producer. He talks with our David Pogue, and here's a clip.
We were tasked with this sort of near impossible feat of following in the footsteps of the greatest show of all time. Serling and the other writers, you know, they built in reveals, and obviously they built in twists. There's always this, what we call the Serling wink, this sense that something sort of mischievous is at play.
The reboot of The Twilight Zone debuts Monday on CBS All Access. So we'll have a little preview on Sunday, Mark.
Boy, the original, that gave me nightmares back when I was a kid. I hope this lives up to that. Yes, I know. Just the music itself. All right, what else is on the show this weekend?
Well, a lot, as always, but for one thing, the Metropolitan Museum of Art here in New York City might seem a surprising place for Ringo Starr's drums, but that's exactly where we find an exhibit of some of the most iconic instruments of rock and roll. And We dine with a world-renowned chef. On the menu, school lunch. Seriously, he's a man on a mission. I wonder if you had a favorite meal in the school cafeteria menu. Remember?
Yeah, we all did. I think it was macaroni and cheese.
Yeah. I like mashed potatoes with this pool of butter, a little lake of butter in it.
That's right. The more butter, the better. All right, Jamie, we'll see you.
Yeah, I'd like one right now.
We will see you Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. Have a great weekend.
You bet. Thank you.
And as Jane mentioned, The Twilight Zone airs on CBS All Access, which is a paid subscription service. You're not going to see it here on Channel 3. There's info online at cbs.com/all-access.
I agree with you about The Twilight Zone. Just the sound of that music makes the hair on your neck stand up.
I remember the one where these aliens came down, and they were being very nice to humans, and they had a book. And the title of the book was How to Serve Man. Turns out it was a cookbook.
Oh, yikes.
That was, yeah, I think it might be worth getting to
you got to check it out.
Access. All right, when Live at 4 continues, we go from the small screen to the silver screen.
We'll have a preview of Tim Burton's new live-action film, Dumbo. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Live look at downtown Madison from our...
Were we just about to look in somebody's office building there or apartment?
I think that's where my brother used to live. That's Henry Gilman Apartments. Steve and Mike lived there.
That's why we did.
There you go. Darren, now don't zoom in.
Yeah.
Tim Burton reunites two members of the Batman Returns cast for a new movie.
But this time, he reverses the roles of the hero and the villain. Rick Damigella has a preview of the live-action retelling of Dumbo.
Fly, little one. The beloved flying elephant takes to the skies in a live-action retelling of Dumbo. Director Tim Burton reunited Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton from his movie Batman Returns, but with the roles reversed.
Is that a monkey in your desk? Just for emergencies.
I love working with Michael. He's the sweetest guy. And being in Dumbo with him is like, it's really spectacular. In Batman Returns, he was the good guy, I was the villain. Now in Dumbo, he's the villain and I'm the good guy. It's so sweet.
For the record, this was not my idea. Dumbo works alone.
So do I.
The movie is not a shot-for-shot remake of the animated classic, with Burton instead introducing new characters and stories.
You know, all the actors on this, it was just such a wonderful thing because it's Tim, and Tim always creates like a very warm atmosphere on set.
It's extraordinary kind of love for what he does, and seems like a deep need to tell certain stories, which usually involve, you know, the sense of the outsider and the other and the isolation of the other. So he was, you know, just a perfect director for this material.
Welcome, baby Dumbo. We're all family here, no matter how small.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
And we have a Wisconsin connection to this
the
film.
producers called Circus World Museum in Baraboo to get how a circus used to be, and I guess it's the first time Disney has consulted directly with the Circus World Museum.
With the elephant experts.
That's right.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Very cool. And Will Loper will tell us what he thinks about this thing on Monday. This thing, Dumbo.
When Live at 4 continues, we go from the silver screen to a Broadway stage.
We go backstage with Michael Bruno for the Dell's Palace Theater's production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Still no accidents to report, which is always good. In my corner of the world, we're looking at the Beltline right now at Park Street, and both east and westbound seem to be moving along just fine, though. Eastbound see just a few more brake lights for us. Speeds reduced a little bit for the eastbound side. Of course, the closer you get to 51, things get a little better. Then once you get closer to 39 and 90, speed's not really a concern at all. All looking green in that direction. The only side on westbound after Park Street slows down just a little bit, but then things all the way through Middleton look just fine on 14 and 12. Down towards Janesville, no complaints. Again, along 39 and 90, you should have no problem getting through southern Wisconsin this evening. That's a quick look at first alert traffic.
All right, Dana, thank you. One of life's great mysteries has been solved. For more than 30 years, orange plastic phones bearing the image of Garfield the cat have been washing up on beaches in western France. No one knew where they came from. Well, the mystery is no more. They've been coming from a container stranded at the bottom of an underwater fault, and every year, a few more Garfield phones break free. Isn't that something?
And so it's still down there?
Yeah, it's still
wow,
oozing out Garfields. Well, fans of Broadway musicals are familiar with the collaborations between Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber. Their first musical was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
The story is based on the Coat of Many Colors from the Bible's book of Genesis. The show hits the stage of the Palace Theater in Wisconsin Dells this weekend.
Our Michael Bruno, who is directing this production, goes backstage to check it out.
Well, Joseph is this gorgeous musical by Andrew Lloyd Webber, based off of a story in the Bible. So we've got the story that we're telling of Joseph and his gorgeous Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Where there's 12 brothers, and Jacob has a lot of wives, and his favorite son is Joseph, who the brothers envy very much. There's a lot of hustle and bustle. Long story short, we end up missing Joseph. We get him back in the end, and everything's great.
And it's turned into a song and dance extravaganza with lots of heart and fun as well.
I've worked at the Palace more than one time, which you know, so I've had the opportunity to work with all these fabulous performers before, so I know their body shapes and their abilities and everything, so I wanted to pull from all of their categories and stuff that I've seen them do before. So that means I could use like Bob Fosse styles for Potiphar, and then I can get hoedown and country with it, you know, for the One More Angel in Heaven, and then we could literally just live our best 70s dreams for Go, 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 Joseph. So it's going to have a lot of genres of dance and everything in it.
Joseph is so wonderful. The way Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice sort of constructed it is because it's funny. It's a smart funny. It's a hopeful funny. And basically, the way they wrote it, any production can sort of put its own mark on it.
And speaking of fun, it has the most amazing different styles of music. So it's very different from your normal musical, where the musical is set in a time and space, and it has one kind of theme for a show.
It definitely takes you through your paces as a performer. You don't get to just rest in one style. So you get a little something of everything. You have, you know, some honky-tonk, a little bit of hip-hop in there. We have some disco music. Really, if you like any kind of music, there's going to be something for you in this show.
It is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Palace Theater in the Dells tonight through May 5th. It's various dates. It's not every night, but so go to dellspalace.com. And if you're not familiar with the Palace, it's also a dinner theater, so you can get dinner as well.
And tonight's opening night, so Bruno, break a leg.
Yeah,
good luck to him.
That's where he is. He's not joining us today, so good luck. Break a leg, and we'll be right back. Maybe a little shower.
Maybe a little shower, maybe a little sprinkle, and early tomorrow morning, if you're in Janesville or anywhere south of Janesville and Rock County, you may see a snowflake in the morning, but we're not looking at any accumulating snowfall. So here's our Doppler track on loop the last 3 hours. You can see that rain starting to creep in. Of course, it's moving east. So we're likely going to see just a few scattered showers for us this evening in southern Wisconsin. 52 right now in Madison. Really throughout the area, we're hovering just a little bit above average for afternoon highs, but our temperatures are going to fall tonight. We're already a few degrees cooler than where we were at yesterday. With the cloud deck overhead, we won't drop too much tonight. Our breeze is going to stay pretty calm for us, but temperatures will be in the 40s here after sunset. We'll be holding on to 40 around 10 o'clock and then into the low 30s for our overnight lows by Saturday morning. Sunshine, though, for Saturday and Sunday afternoon. There's good news.
Oh, that's good. Maybe it'll help melt some of that ice on that lake. It's still frozen.
It's still frozen. So these temperatures are not doing the ice any favors right now.
They're not. All right. Thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
And Monday here on Live at 4, Dr. Zorba Pastor will be along to take your medical calls live.
And our film critic, Will Loper, will be here to tell us what he thinks of the new live-action version of Dumbo. That's coming up Monday on Live at 4. As March Madness continues, there's madness of a different sort in the animal world.
Lola and Louie sorted it all out for us in this week's edition of the News Hounds Now Update.
It's News Hounds Now Update with Lola and Louie.
This week on the News Hounds Now Update, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger chasing a horse.
Can't a mom get a little rest?
And the ultimate golf hazard.
But first, spring is in the air, and these giraffes at the Brookfield Zoo have a spring in their step. The zoo's 3 giraffes stretched their legs in the Habitat for Africa exhibit for the first time this year. And for these guys, that's a lot to stretch.
A heartbroken elephant causes some big trouble in a small Chinese town. The lonely animal was forced from his herd by another male and ended up taking a solo journey right through the center of town. It took police and firefighters more than 30 minutes to guide him back to the forest, but not before the big visitor damaged 9 vehicles.
Talk about an unwanted guest. An enormous alligator was spotted strolling on a golf course in Savannah, Georgia. Golfers say gators are a common sight on the course, but they're rarely as big as this one. Play was halted as the big guy made it to a green, where he decided to take a break. Eventually, he made his way onto a water feature on the course. See you later, alligator.
You know, most moms just want a few minutes a day to relax. However, as all moms know,